What's up guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. Today we're finally going to be talking about sniping as you guys have requested for quite a while. This will be the first part in this series since there's quite a lot of things that go into becoming a good sniper. So we'll basically cover the basics in this video, things that you can change very quickly that will help you progress as a sniper. We'll talk things like sensitivity, game modes, and taking the first steps into the crucible to learn a very important skill for a sniper. I want to mention that I've only recently become a good enough sniper to the point where I'm comfortable giving you guys tips for it. So while I'm not on the level of people like KJ Hovey and MTash, I've learned sniping from scratch in this game and I'm almost certain that I can help you guys improve your sniping through my experience with various methods that I've used myself. But no more chit chat, let's get to it. So a very important factor to sniping is actually sensitivity. A lot of people like running a really high sensitivity when sniping because it feels really good to get those snappy sweep snipes. However, I don't recommend running a high sensitivity. When sniping, especially if you're new to it, a sensitivity of 3 or 4 is going to be ideal, allowing you to make adjustments fairly quickly, but at the same time, a slight overcorrection in a thumbstick isn't going to throw your aim way off. Essentially, the slower your scope moves, the easier it's going to be for you to time your shots, and that will cause you to land more shots on target. Personally, I play on a 6 sensitivity, though I do use control freaks, which are extensions to your thumbsticks, which basically adds more angle, allowing you to make more precise adjustments even on a higher sensitivity. I personally really like them, but I mainly use them for comfort. If you ask me, they're definitely worth their price point if you play a lot of FPS games in general, but they're by no means indispensable, and some of the best snipers like KJ Hovey and True Vanguard do not use control freaks. Now it's time for our first steps into the fires of the crucible. Of course, practice makes perfect, but there are a few tips that can help you improve your sniping very quickly. One of the very first things you should consider is the game mode that you're playing. A lot of people like to run the 6v6 playlists. It's fast paced, tons of chaos, and there's always something going on. But if you're practicing your sniping, I don't recommend playing 6v6. As a matter of fact, I don't recommend playing 6v6 if your goal is to improve as a player, as the high amount of chaos will stress you out, and oftentimes the team can start snowballing their supers and heavy kills. The result is less emphasis on gun skill and smart plays, and it becomes more important to pick up orbs and heavy. Therefore, there's much less individual skill involved in these playlists, no matter which team you're on. I find skirmish to be the best place to practice. It takes longer to build your super, and there are only 2 heavy drops per match, which is usually irrelevant relatively quickly. You have way more one-on-one encounters as opposed to 2-on-1 or even 3-on-1 encounters in control. Because of this, you can remain relatively calm, try to maintain map control, and learn the spawns and sniper spots on the maps. If you bring a few friends with you, it can also be a great way to practice for Trials of Osiris, as teamwork is very important in both playlists. Once you become more comfortable with sniping, you can start sniping in Rumble. In my personal opinion, Rumble is the ultimate test of a sniper's ability and decision making. When everyone is trying to kill each other, the result is a very chaotic game mode, but you almost always have one-on-one encounters. In Rumble, you'll be practicing your gun skill and your ability to read the gameplay and radar at a faster pace. The sniper's ability to get a one-shot kill at any range is extremely strong in Rumble, but you'll have to master the sniper in order for it to be effective. But enough about game modes, you're here to learn to snipe, so let's get to it. One of the most basic sniper tips, but arguably the most important, is to aim in at head level. While making corrections is inevitable, you want to limit the diagonal corrections that you have to make, as these adjustments are very difficult to get right, and seeing as head height is always constant unless of course the enemy is crouched or sliding, unlike the enemy's position which is ever changing, sighting in at head level will limit your adjustments to horizontal adjustments only. It's also very important to know that the reticle in Destiny is slightly below the center of the screen as opposed to other shooters like Call of Duty, where the reticle is dead center. There are things that you can use to mark head level on many maps, like the lines on the walls on Pantheon. Things like these lines can be very useful for pre-aiming if you think an enemy is about to peek you. So trying to look out for things that you can line your reticle up with on different maps will be a huge help. I could go on about my spots for a long time, so what I'll do instead is I will link you a video by the Jess in the description where he explains and demonstrates many of his favorite sniper lines on almost every map in the game. I highly recommend you check it out. But of course in some situations you won't be pre-aiming enemies, you'll have to scope in and acquire your target, and the closer to the head the better. This is where aiming in at head level gets tricky, and knowing where the reticle is simply by muscle memory is crucial. There are a number of things you can do to improve your awareness of where your reticle is. A very simple one is just paying attention to the reticle when you're running. This reticle only appears with snipers when running, and paying attention to it can greatly help you acquire the target if you get caught off guard with your sniper in hand. Oftentimes you'll be looking slightly downwards when you're running. What you should try to do is correct your sight so the reticle is head level while you're running. You can use your teammate to measure this quite effectively. Another method that I've used is actually one I learned from True Vanguard. I've changed it up a bit from his method, but if you want to see the original, I will leave a link to his video down below in the description. Basically, I bring my sniper along when doing patrol bounties. What you'll find is that a lot of enemies that you find on patrol have their heads at similar height as a Guardian. I often run around quickscoping and dragscoping fallen and hive on patrol, trying to hit as many headshots in a row as possible, but without taking too much time to aim. This will drastically improve your target acquisition and reticle placement. You can also do this method on the Vex and the Cabal, as their head level is similar to Guardians too. Once you've got the reticle placement down, you'll already notice a significant improvement in your sniping ability, and you'll have the basics down for learning the more advanced skills like sweep, sniping, and quickscopes. Another important basic tip is don't be stationary. This will often cause two things. One, you'll start getting tunnel vision, making you easier to flank, and two, people will start coming after you if they see you in the same spot over and over again. That said, it's not a bad idea to always stay close to choke points, as these will usually provide a lot of easy kills, but you should always try to change up your position and angle on the area as often as possible. One of my favorite examples of this is the area across from the B control point on Anomaly. This allows you to overlook 3 main choke points on the map, however staying there for too long will most certainly put a target in your back. And for one last tip of this video, make sure you don't stay scoped in for too long at a time. It's very common that people end up tunnel visioning with their snipers because they're waiting for an enemy to peek around the corner. But it's extremely important to scope out every 2 or 3 seconds to check your radar, if not even more frequently. This way you can avoid getting flanked, and as a result you'll stay alive for longer. But that's it for the video, guys. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first of a series of sniper guides, so stay tuned and let me know if you found this helpful and if there's anything that I should switch up in future episodes. And feel free to ask me questions in the comment section below or on Twitter. You'll find the link to my Twitter in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.